the last pictures. This curved molding, hold the canvas was done. It was bent over a form, soaking wet, and we let it hold, and it came out perfectly. It's now nailed on and painted with this roof color. This is really a guess, but it gives a little bit of contrast with the brown, which we thought would be nice. So Jim Mackel made that, and actually he put it on by himself. I wasn't even here. I was very impressed with the way he was able to do it. We've also finished all of the post covers. They're a combination of new and old and patching and so forth. We didn't try to smooth out all the time-worn areas in it. Some parts are brand new down toward the bottom here, but up here they're mostly original. I'm feeling some roughness here. We're probably going to have to touch some of this stuff up again. The painting was done using fine paints of Europe, floor and deck enamel, which is a really hard paint, but it gives you a nice gloss. And to put it on, we used a foam roller, inch in diameter, 6 inches long, rolled it on, but when you roll it you get a little stippling effect. We went over it with a foam brush, a 3-inch foam brush, and just a few, maybe 2 or 3 minutes you can cover this whole thing, and it actually comes out very smooth when you're done. You have to thin the paint a bit, and I had trouble thinning the paint at first. I didn't do it right, and it would get thick and the thinner didn't mix, but I called the company and they said, well, you've got to mix it before you put it in the roller pan, which we did, and then on it worked very well. We have to use their special thinner, which is mineral spirits, but apparently more potent than what we have in this country. This is made in Holland, and it went on very well. As I feel this, I find a little bit of roughness here, which I want to take off and touch up, but that won't take too long. Then the holes have been left for where there's a step that goes on here, and there's another step that goes on here, and we will start putting those on as we get them painted up. This will never be painted. It never was. People have asked, well, why don't you paint it? Well, because it never was, and it also shows the original, some of the very original paint on here. This is a bar that holds the headlight for when it's stored. The area where I'm standing is where the traction motor resistors are, which are used for controlling the speed of the car. The reason we haven't started work on this hood is because the wires come up through this hole here and maybe over here, and in order to access them, we can't have the outside down. So we'll put the resistors down. They sit on a couple of boards that go across the car, and then we'll put the wires on, and then Jim can put the hood on here, which shouldn't take very long. It's all pretty much made, and this will be the original one, whereas the other one was the one that they had to make new. We're now inside the cab, and it's again painted with that fine paints of Europe. 2 different colors that we got from our analysis. The upper is what they call an ochre, O-C-H-E-R or O-C-H-R-E, depending on whose crossword puzzle you're doing, as I found out this week. The brass on the window sash, or the light sockets, I've covered up, and today I'll be taking that off, and we probably won't shine them up, but we'll clean them up so that they look a little bit better. The reason we wanted to get this all done now is because we're shortly going to be putting the air piping and the controllers here, so we want to be able to get behind them. So it's ready to do that. The windows are rebuilt, not washed, however. This has 2 coats on each side. In fact, I should mention, everything has 2 coats of fine woodworking, fine paints of Europe primer, and then 2 coats of the finish coat. This stuff really covers very, very well. It's excellent paint. When It's just so much better than what you can buy in the store. It brushes out smoothly and it covers extremely well. These windows, especially this one, were in terrible, terrible shape, so they've all been rebuilt, and then we'll carefully scrape them down. I don't know about the hardware on this. We have some, but we don't have it all. We're going to have to figure out. There's a leather tab here for lifting it up, and then up in the top is a lift. They didn't use brass, as near as I can tell. They used cast iron stuff. Then the windows will be held in with stops, some of which are new, some of which are rebuilt. In the last picture we had shown the wood for them, and then we used about half new and half old because the old ones had worn out and cracked and so forth. So we'll put this down because there are no stops and this could fall down and spoil a lot of good work. We'll also be putting the wiring back up in place up here. There's a wire we ran down here. We'll put the air governor here. We'll put the pipes for the brake. The feed valve is up inside, and then the brake valve and all that sort of stuff will be here. Now over in this side, we have left a time capsule, so to speak, where with as little as possible we have touched things. We've tried to keep it as it was, left the old. These are the air gauges to tell how much pressure there is in the air tanks under the car, and how much pressure there is in the train line, which is what applies the brakes. These are original and in pretty good shape, but a fellow by the name of Bill Frizzle in Old Orchard loves to deal with small and delicate things, and he polished them up and checked them out to make sure that they're accurate, and they're now ready to go back in the car. Now we got the painting done, there's no reason why we can't put them up there on display, which we will. And speaking of that, we'll also put the Laconia Builder's plate up there, glued to, epoxied to the wall. So